What is going on, crypto peeps? No fancy intro today, sorry. So for those of you that have seen my Bitcoin video from yesterday, I've actually gotten a few requests from that to do technical analysis on a couple of coins. The request that I got by far was, no surprise, Ripple. I don't know why people are so obsessed with that coin. I mean, it does have great potential, and they are doing great things in the banking space. But I think that the interest in it is disproportionate to Ethereum or Bitcoin or Neo or Litecoin. But hey, I mean, I give the people what they want. The people want me to do technical analysis on Ripple. I'm going to do technical analysis on Ripple. So we'll get into that. But before that, let's just do a quick check of the overall market health today. So you see that the market cap is flirting with dropping below 500 billion again. Yes, again, it's another down market day today. And it's funny because over the last couple of days, people thought that we were in the clear. You saw Bitcoin briefly go over 13,000. You saw the market cap go over 600 billion. It was, I think, 615 at its highest in the last couple of days, maybe a little higher. But yeah, for those of you that are experienced in markets and not just crypto markets, that's pretty typical. I mean, I think a lot of people in the crypto market kind of look for these exotic, esoteric answers as to why the market is down today and why it's up tomorrow. I mean, a lot of this is due to normal market fluctuations. I know that there are certain things going on in the news and with the CBOE and the Bitcoin futures, and with some of the news that was coming out of Asia towards the beginning of the month, of course that affects the market, of course that affects the prices. And the crypto market generally, like I said before, is pretty small compared to the traditional finance market, so it is going to take a bigger hit when negative news comes down the pike. But a lot of fluctuations are also due to it just being a market. So keep that in mind, and you don't always have to rack your brain looking for some type of conspiracy or some esoteric reason why the market is down, or if there are, shadowy hands behind the veil that are pushing the market down artificially. I do think there is some element of market manipulation. I also think that there is some price manipulation with the Bitcoin futures and how that's pegged to Gemini auctions and not necessarily the overall price of Bitcoin. But that's not isolated to just the crypto market. In traditional markets or the stock market, there's tons of price manipulations and insider trading and forces other than natural market forces dictating what goes on in the market. So just keep that in mind. All right, Ripple. Let's get to Ripple. So here is the 1 hour chart. This is Ripple pegged against Bitcoin. And you can see that there is a general head and shoulders pattern forming here. And if you don't know what that is, let's go to the Discord. I updated the trading trend section with all of the basic patterns that you will see in a chart. And you can see that the head and shoulders is on here. And after a head and shoulders pattern forms, what you typically see is a downtrend past the neckline. And that's what you see here. This is an almost perfectly drawn head and shoulders formation. And you can see that below the neckline that you do have a decline, which is what we'd expect to see. Now keep in mind with trading patterns, what you're doing is studying trends, right? So it's not an exact science. And what I mean by that is anytime you see, it's not every time you see a head and shoulders formation, you're going to see a decline after that. I would say that the best way to look at trading patterns is you're basically trying to establish support and resistance levels, and then you want to see how the market reacts. And if it breaks support, you want to see if the market continues to decline. If it breaks resistance, you want to see if there's an uptrend that's shooting to the moon. And that's basically what you want to keep in mind. And then the different patterns are basically different ways of establishing support and resistance. Really, that's it. Anyway, so let's zoom in a bit further on this 1 hour chart. And the neat thing here is you could see that these previous support levels are now the resistance levels. So generally, this is where previous support was. You could see almost like a clear support at the bottom of this neckline here of this head and shoulders formation. And that's now where the current resistance levels are, or recent resistance levels are. And then let's draw where the current support is, which is right here. The previous support from a few days ago was, you have an obvious line right here. So this is actually a pretty clean chart. It allows you to make certain determinations based on the future of Ripple. So I would say that this support line right here is what we want to shoot for, right? Or at least what we want to look out for, sorry. So this is at around, what, 11,450 Satoshis. And for those of you that are new to Satoshis or charting things in Bitcoin instead of USD, a Satoshi is basically Bitcoin up to 8 decimal points. So if you look at this, instead of saying 0.000111450, if you move this decimal points 8 places, you're going to get 11,464. And it's just really an easier way of quoting securities in Bitcoin prices. So you can see that this current support level is at 11,432 Satoshis. And there's almost this rectangular continuation pattern that's forming. And you want to see if it will continue to bounce around in between this. So if we draw this a little bit longer, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to see if it will continue to bounce in between this and test these support and resistance levels and how many times it happens, or if it will just break below this support. If it does break below the support, I would say that the next target we want to shoot for is the previous support level of around 9,585 Satoshis. And when you're doing technical analysis, the price points that you set or the support and resistance levels that you set, just know that they're not exact. So if it does break this, it doesn't mean that it's going for this and it's exactly going to stop here. But they're better than throwing arbitrary numbers out, right? So it gives you a target to look for. That's all it is. It's not saying, nobody can tell you the extent of a decline or the extent of a bull run or where it's going to stop or where it's going to end. But you can use these things to analyze trends and patterns. So all you're trying to do is examine a pattern and make decisions from there. So again, if it breaks this support line, it's not exactly going to stop at 9,500 Satoshis, but this is something to shoot for because it was established previously. That's it. So let's take a look at the one-day chart for Ripple. Let me remove these trend lines, because these obviously apply to the 1 hour chart and not the 1 day chart. And with the 1 day chart, I like to put in the moving averages because we're dealing with days. And you can see that Ripple has bounced off of this 50-day moving average pretty convincingly. So that's a good sign in terms of health. The current resistance line based on the daily chart is right here. That's pretty clear. Current support we can draw right here above the 50-day moving average. And again, we typically see these rectangular continuation patterns form, or sometimes referred to as sideway patterns, where the security just tends to move in this sideway pattern, not really establishing an upward or downward trend, but it just bounces off in between these two lines, between support and resistance lines. And you want to see how many times it tests these support and resistance lines. And a lot of times what you'll see is the security get exhausted from testing these support and resistance lines. So it might hit this 2, 3, 4, or 5 times, and it wants to establish a clear direction after that, either upward or downward. And that's basically reflecting what the investor sentiment is. Another good sign with Ripple is if you look at the volume, you don't really see a lot of sell volume. It's more buy volume, and people are holding. So that's a good indication in terms of the health of Ripple. Let me just go back to the 1 hour chart just so I can check the volume. Same thing with the 1 hour chart. There isn't really any indication of some massive sell-off. Now, if you're looking for a good long-term play on Ripple, let me just go back to the daily chart. Since it hit these highs back in, what was that, the beginning of January, I think it went up to, the highest that it went to was, what is this right here? So, what, 23,170 Satoshis around there? So if we draw a fib retracement, and I showed this to you guys in the Bitcoin video from yesterday. So if you draw a fib retracement from the beginning of the recent bull run, so let's say right here, to the peak of it. And for those of you that have never dealt with fib retracements are basically predetermined ratios called Fibonacci ratios, and you'll see them on the side here. 786, 618, 0.5, 0.382. And what you're doing with these ratios is basically establishing different support and resistance levels based on historical pricing. So this was the bottom of the bull run. This was the top of the bull run. The 618 level is usually where you see people either throw in the towel and start selling massively, or you see the bulls come in and start buying this coin right here, heavily establishing this support level and either continuing the consolidation or establishing an upward trend. So if you're looking to put in a possible opening position for a long-term play, I would say anywhere between the 618 and 0.5, that's where I would do it. I might wait to see if it inches closer to this 618 support level, or at least this trend line where the previous support level was, because I do feel like Ripple might bounce around in here a couple of times before breaking out either downward or upward. So that's what I might do. There's no reason to rush into it. I think that you can easily wait to see if it starts testing this support level or even this 618 support level. Now, if you're buying Ripple with USD, because I know that we're charting this in BTC, and I see comments from you guys saying, oh, but I buy in USD, or I want to buy with USD. There are a few exchanges that allow you to buy with USD, Kraken being one of them, Poloniex, I think Bitfinex, Bitstamp. So why don't we look at the USD chart? So if we look at the USD chart, there is some significant differences. So this 50-day moving average, Ripple has already closed below that a few times. And what that indicates is it could start testing previous support levels. But again, in the volume, there's really nothing that's indicative of something catastrophic. The previous support level is clearly right around here at, what is that? 99 cents. So around $1 is the previous support level. Currently it's at $1.15. And if we do the same Fibonacci treatment or Fib retracement on this, you could see that here's the beginning of the bull run. Here's the top of the bull run, which was at, what was that? I remember it was like over $3. Around $3.30. So you'll see that we're well below the 618 levels. So we're between the 786 and 618 levels. I would say that is probably a good place to put in a long-term position. You could wait and see if it tests this previous support level. If you want to get a little cheaper, so instead of $1.14, get it at 99 cents. Or if you want to wait to see if it breaks the support level, then, you know, all bets are off. and you should probably shoot for this previous support level of around 70 cents. And there was some bouncing around off 70 cents previously. This was back in December, I believe. Yeah. So December 20th. So this was December 15th to the 20th. It bounced around 70 cents as the support level. So we could shoot for that if it actually does break 99 cents. And we'll see where it goes. But you could make a comfortable long-term play for it in between these two price points. I would just make sure, and I always say this, make sure you have an exit strategy. All right, looking at the 2-hour chart for USD, you could see the head and shoulders pattern again, and then a decline from the neckline, which is what we'd expect to see. You can draw the clear support levels right here currently, and the resistance right here. And it'd be interesting, wrong one. And the clear resistance is right here. And again, it'd be interesting to see how many times it tests this support and resistance and where it goes from here. You'll actually know by the next candle how it bounces if it bounces off this support level, or if it goes below. If it goes below, look for previous support levels at 90 cents. And if it breaks that, then you have to go as far back as the December support levels of, again, around 70 cents that we took a look at in the longer term 1-day chart. So that's what to shoot for with Ripple. Again, you can probably make a justification for a long-term play at current prices, or you can wait to see what happens if it breaks the support level and goes down to the next one. Hope you enjoyed the video. I've gotten a lot of requests for Ripple. Subscribe for more crypto talk, trading strategy, crypto news. Leave a thumbs up, comment below. Don't forget your crypto addresses. Remember, I am not your financial advisor. Join the Discord. It's free, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.